You've probably heard the term codependent or codependency. The question, though, is are you sure you know exactly what it means? Codependent is one of those words that's thrown around in the culture so much, but sometimes we need to stop and make sure that we actually understand the core elements of what a word really means. And when it comes to codependent, I'm going to share those with you. So, essentially, four main elements of codependency are, first of all, an overwhelming orientation around caretaking. Caretaking becomes really a number one priority or motivation in a person's day. If you're in a codependent relationship, you may find yourself feeling responsible for the emotional issues or problems that another person has. You may feel responsible to fix them as well. What you do in order to make things better for that person is you often nurture, you protect, you do everything you can to be a caretaker with the idea that if I take care of them really, really, really well, that I can help them do better. I can protect them from worse things happening. Caretaking. Caretaking is one of the number one core elements of codependence. The next element that I want to talk about is what I would call poor boundaries. So, poor boundaries is almost always a hallmark symptom of codependency. If you find yourself in a relationship where you feel like you're losing your identity, or you are overly focused on what the other person's identity is, and you really stop thinking about what you need, what you think, what you feel, that is an example of having poor boundaries that, in a way, you can lose your own identity to the overall relationship. It's like the relationship can engulf you, can fully engulf you. The third factor that I want to talk about is low self esteem. A lot of times, as unfortunate as it is to try to admit it, a lot of times being codependent goes along with low self esteem. A person can sometimes find themselves trying to prove their worth in the relationship. That however successful they are in the relationship, or however much they help the other person, they help the other person be better, get better. However much they do that is a sign that they then finally have worth. They derive self esteem in a way from how well or how poorly the other person is doing. Low self esteem is one of those things that we often don't realize when we have it. So sometimes we have to look at our behavior, and sometimes our behavior indicates whether we have more poor or more positive self esteem. One important point that I want to make about how being codependent relates to low self esteem is in the need for being needed. That may sound pretty wild, so let me repeat it. Being needed. Some people start to develop an identity where they have worth, and whatever self esteem they do have, it stems from being needed by others. So, to be honest, they often find themselves in relationship with dysfunctional people. Well, those dysfunctional people often need them to function in the world. And this can give you, if you are a codependent person, this can give you a sense of purpose, a sense of feeling needed, that if you were not there, what might happen? That's sort of what the thinking is. And so being needed in a relationship is really something that is important to think more about. Is that the goal? I think more what we want to do in relationships is we want to be wanted. We want the other person to have some degree of social need and emotional need, but not so much. We want the other person to be able to exist and function well in life on their own. We want everyone to be able to start relationships from a place of independence and well being so that each person is strong in their own ways and can help be a cheerleader for the other when the other is down. Unfortunately, in codependent relationships, if you're the codependent person, you may find yourself directing almost all of your energy to how the other person is doing. And being needed may have become too big a part of your identity. It's something to really think about, to ask yourself, has that happened to you? The fourth and final element that I want to talk about that's often a part of being codependent is control and manipulation. Now, when we talk about the word control, control often sounds like such a bad word, a really nefarious word. But the truth is that when people who are codependent find themselves engaging in controlling behavior in their relationship, it's really not nefarious. It's not malicious. They have no intention to cause harm. Their intention is actually often to help fix the other person. So sometimes an individual in a codependent relationship, they may find themselves trying to control or manipulate the others, but really with the intention of this is for their best interest because you want the best for them. And so you'll do often whatever it takes to get them to a place where they are engaging in better, more functional behavior. Sometimes, even if it takes trying to control them in subtle ways. The truth is, I don't need to share this. Everyone knows deep down that we are all human beings on this earth, those of us adults, and that healthy relationships are consenting relationships that are good for people, that bring out the best in people. And that's really the goal, to be in a relationship like that. So think more about it if you find yourself engaging in controlling or manipulative behavior. I hope this has been helpful, highlighting these four sort of key elements of what codependent behavior looks like. You can also check out all my other videos on my YouTube channel here for Dr. Seth, psychologist. Hopefully, there's something else that can be helpful to you. You can also check out my podcast, Insight with Dr. Seth, and I wish you all the best.